Ta-da! Hello kids! Welcome back to I Love Drawing. And I know you do love drawing too, because you keep coming back and I keep drawing them. And I hope you are drawing at home too when I'm drawing. So we are all drawing at the same time. So the whole world is drawing and expressing themselves. What a lovely day. Anyway, today I want to draw an apple. But of course, it's not just going to be an apple. It's gonna have a story, and I think I already found the story. I'm gonna make it up, but who cares, because that's what creativity is all about. Alright, first I'm drawing the outlines with black marker as I usually do, because I want to see the basics of my drawing first, and then I'm going to start with the details and patterns and colors, of course. Anyway, our apple is going to be red today, but apples can be yellow and green too sometimes. Right now, I'm drawing two worms in my apple because the story is going to be about these two worms. And these are, of course, apple worms. What else can they be? And as you can see, kids, I'm using a thinner marker here while I'm drawing the details of my drawing because, I like variations in my lines when I'm drawing because it makes it richer. When I'm drawing the basic lines, the outlines, I'm using a thick marker, and when I'm doing the details, I'm using a thin marker. And I think now it's time to make up a story about our apple and the two worms, of course. Alright. One of them is facing right and the other one is facing left. So, left and right. Interesting. Where did these two words come from? How do we know which one is left and which one is right? Sometimes it's confusing, For some of us at least. Sometimes, we think left is right or right is left. Our worms, of course, had names, and one of them was called Mr. Left because he was always the first to leave a party. And the other one was called Mrs. Right because, I don't know, somehow she was always right. People were just like, you can't be right all the time, but at the end they saw she was always right. They were living in the same apple, but they never saw each other because they were facing opposite directions, Mrs. Right was always looking towards right, and Mr. Left was, always looking towards left. So they never knew they were living in the same apple. How can that happen? Days went by, and maybe weeks, I don't know, maybe months, and they were living in there and just eating the apple little by little because, they were getting hungry and all. But every other insect and animal in the jungle, when they were passing by this apple, they saw Mrs. Right and Mr. Left, always looking at some direction but never towards each other. And they were just amazed by this fact that they never knew they were living in the same place. They didn't know they were neighbors. So every insect and animal in the jungle from that day on knew which way was left and which way was right. Because every time they wanted to go left, they were thinking about Mr. And every time they wanted to go right, they were thinking about Mrs. Right. And the insects and the animals in the jungle, whenever they were talking about directions, they were like, go Mrs. Right, or go Mr. Left. Yeah, Mr. Left direction, Mrs. Right direction, and then time passed, and at the end, they dropped Mr. and Mrs. And they just started calling, go left, go right, go this way, or whatever. Yep, that's how left and right was born as words. That's how we know them. Because there was a human passing by in the jungle too one day, and he heard it from the insects and the animals. And then humans started using them too. I don't know if that's the true version of the story, but I don't care because I'm making up this story. Like I said at the beginning, I colored my apple a really red. And of course the leaves with a great green. I like characterizing my colors. My reds are really reds. My greens are great greens. And of course I put some little dots on my apple because that's how apples look like. They have some texture and they have fresh, bright colors. Now I'm starting to color my worms and they're gonna be warm colors. Look at the coincidence. Kids, do you know what warm colors are? The warm colors are red, yeah, yellow, yeah, and orange. And do you know what are the cool colors? The cool colors are green, blue, and purple. These are the warm colors and the cool colors. So we learned something new today. Again. I mean, this is not like the left and right story. I'm not making these up. Anyways, I'm drawing some question marks here because there are a lot of questions in the story. And some of them we answered already and some of them we didn't answer. What happened to these two worms? Did they ever see each other? Did they ever come across? I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe they became really good friends. I mean, how can it not be? Because you're living in the same house. At some point, you're gonna meet with each other. You're gonna hear a noise or something, and you're gonna be like, "Who's there? Who's that? Who's making that noise? Is there someone else in this house?" Maybe that's how it happened, but I don't know how it's happened. I can tell you this much. These two worms at last saw each other, and they became really good friends. From that day on, no animal in the jungle knew which one was which because they were hanging out together all the time. Because they were having a really good time, they became really good friends, you know. And to finish my drawing, I'm adding the environment. I'm gonna add some grass with light greens and darker greens, and then I'm gonna add some flowers with lots of colors. Like I'm gonna use red for the flowers and purple and orange. I think these two friends should live in a pretty environment because they deserved it. I love great environments and great characters and great stories like you do, kids. Now I'm signing my drawing and putting a date on it. And ta-da! Hello, Mr. Left and Mrs. Right. You found each other at last.